Well, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of Cozy Old School RuneScape Lore. This evening, we are continuing our Varlamore-Locked chunk-based iron account, and we are starting in the chunk Moonrise Alchemical Headquarters, and I often call this kind of like downtown Aldarin area, and we have a few chunk tasks that we need to do. One requires 58 cooking, and that's bake pita bread. One requires 1 farming, that's rake a farming patch. One requires 40 thieving, that's pickpocket a guard. And then we have some best in slot tasks. One is the magic and melee best in slot weapon, that's an iron dagger. And the magic ranged melee best in slot hands item, that's obtain leather gloves. So, let's start off by just taking care of one task. And that's pickpocket a guard. I'm your host, Drifteray. Cozy Old School RuneScape Lore we just finished the pickpocket a guard task. We got 30 coins from that, so I'm going to mark that done. And I was just about to say that Cozy Old School RuneScape Lore is the podcast where we explore the places, the people, the pieces of paper that tell us about the world of Gielinor. That's the world of old school RuneScape. Now, we just completed our first task. As a reminder, the items that we have for this account currently are now 364 gold coins. We have an uncut emerald, we have an adamant square shield, we have a costume needle, we have a steel pickaxe, and we have an adamant kite shield. Before I really get going exploring the chunk, I want to give a shout out to 2 listeners who've provided helpful advice and feedback and perspectives. One of them is Hell2007, who's given a lot of help and perspective, some production notes on the sound design, sound equipment, equipment that impacts the sound, like the mouse and stuff, and various other forms of support. And another one is Arog, who has helped talk through some of the ideas, especially the chunk-based ideas, which helped me come up with this idea for this chunk-based region-locked account, kind of just exploring everything we can find in one chunk at a time and reflecting on what's there. So I wanted to thank both of them. Okay, now let's start exploring the area. One thing I can see right away is that there is a spade available in a building just to the north of the bank, but I can't get there by running directly there, otherwise I would leave the chunk. So let's run south. On the path, we're running past a fountain, which counts as a water source, and now we're running east on the path into our previous chunk, the Villa Lucen's chunk, and this path will take us up to where I can see this spade in this nearby building. I think having a spade could be a good thing, so let's go there and take the spade. And there's 2 people in this building. Let's see if we can talk to them. There's a farmer here, and when I talk, I say, "Hello there, how's it going?" The farmer says, "Hello there, nice weather we've been having, perfect for a day outdoors." And that's it. And then there's a citizen I can talk to, who I say, "How's it going?" They say, "Sorry, but I don't want to buy anything." Pretty standard Varlamore citizen response. There's an oven that I could use to cook on in this building, and up the ladder there is, someone named a well-dressed man. So if we talk to them, they say, 3 stories, multiple entries, numerous butlers. I say, "Hello, what are you doing up here?" They say, "I'm just watching and observing. I find that doing so offers plenty of ... opportunities." So from their dialogue and kind of the way their chat head looks, they seem a little nefarious, like they might be a thief. I say, "I'm not sure what you're up to, but if it's got anything to do with that villa, then I think someone might have beaten you to it." And they say, "Then it seems I now have a gap in my schedule." "Well, you enjoy it." That's all I say. And I say, "What a nice man." Okay, let's climb down this here ladder. And then we're going to run back down the path and re-enter our main chunk to the west that we're going to explore today. I don't know if you can hear it, but I think my next door neighbor is playing some music or an instrument or something that's coming through the walls. So anyway, just a note that if you can hear that, that's what that is. Okay, there's a vineyard worker here, and I can talk to them. I say, hello there, how's it going? They say the grapes are in good shape for this harvest. That's it. I can pick a grapevine, but it says the grapes don't look ripe enough to pick yet. There's another vineyard worker, let's talk to them. There's also a couple farmers to the east near a wheat patch. I say, hello there, how's it going? I wish these grapes could pick themselves. And another vineyard worker, let's talk to. There's two other ones we can talk to. I say, hello there, how's it going? The grapes are in good shape for this harvest. And the last one, hi there, how's it going? I'm sorry, but the vineyards need tending to. And now I'm seeing that there's a new animal that we can examine. It is a green skink. It's a little blizzard, and if I examine it, it says its head looks especially cold-blooded. The head is like blue, whereas the rest of the body is kind of green and yellowy. So maybe that's why I think it's cold-blooded in its head, because it's a blue head. And that is the green skink. Okay, now right here is a Quetzal landing station where I could travel with Renu, but we're not going to be able to unlock the kind of the Quetzal travel system yet. We would have to go, I don't know, I haven't thought much about how we may or may not use that. I think eventually we should use that in this series while we're locked to Varlamore, but we'll probably have to do something to unlock it in a way that makes sense for the series. So now I'm going to talk to the farmer that's near the wheat patch. I say, how's it going? They say, not too bad, thanks. Okay, and there's another farmer here to the south, and if I talk to them, I say, how's it going? They say, not too bad, thanks. And that's it. Okay, now I'm in some kind of windmill or something. Yep, it's a mill, and I could climb up the ladder. And I'm getting a surprise exam random event. I think that's acceptable for this series. Sure, I fancy an exam. Alright, you've been slacking, it's time for an exam. That's kind of rude. Okay, pick the object that should come next in the pattern. There's a fish, a harpoon, and a fish, so I think next would be probably just another fish. Yep, keep up the good work. Next question, pick the object that should come next. A fish, a harpoon, and a fish. So again, once more, I'll do a fish. Pick the object that should come next. There's a teacup, a cocktail glass with a cocktail in it, a liquor bottle, and I will choose a beer. Well done. Please use any of the exits. Okay. So, let's read the book of knowledge that it gives, and there's no lore here, but I can choose to put it on runecraft, because that skill is a pain to train. Let's climb up the ladder one more time. And, yep, there's a pot I could take here if I don't want to run down a mist rock for pots. And there's hopper controls and a hopper that I could operate to use this as a windmill to grind up grain. Actually, maybe that's something I need to do because, and on the top of this windmill there is a nest that I can examine, and it says a nice nest. It looks a lot like the nest that's in the woodcutting guild, so maybe if I had like, whatever those eggs are called from nests that drop, maybe I could offer them here for prayer experience to get a nest with a seed in it. That's interesting. There's also chickens here, so I'm going to attack a couple chickens and get some resources from them. I'm getting bones. I'm getting raw chicken. I don't remember if they drop eggs or if you just have to find eggs as spawns. More bones, more raw chicken. I'm hoping for some feathers or something. Anyway, this is a good initial source of food if we need it. Okay, there we go. There's 5 feathers, some bones, some more raw chicken. Okay, so I'm thinking I need to use this windmill to make flour that I can make into pita bread, so let's go just do that now. Let's go pick some wheat. Okay, I have wheat now, and I'm running back to the windmill. Gonna climb up this here ladder and get the pot from the second floor. Climb up to the top of the ladder. Actually, I don't think I need to do that this time. Let's put the grain in the hopper and operate the hopper for the hopper controls. And now it says, so first it says you put the grain in the hopper, you should now pull the lever nearby to operate the hopper. you operate the hopper, the grain slides down the chute. So let's climb down the ladder. And one more time. Okay, there I can empty the flour bin, and that fills my pot with flour. So now we have a source of flour, and hopefully we can make pita bread with that, but I don't think I've ever done that. So let's check the cooking guide in-game to see if we want to make bread, pita bread. Okay, we need to fill a bucket or a jug with water from a sink or fountain, and then mix the flour and water to make bread, then cook it on a stove. And I think at that point you can choose whether you want to make regular bread or pita bread. Okay, so I need a jug or bucket with water in it, and then I can mix the water and the flour, and then I can bake it on the stove. Okay, so there's a group of people preparing nearby. There's a group of people preparing grapes, and they are stomping the grapes in these big terracotta jugs. Oh, there's a grapevine that is sparkling, and I think that means I don't have anything to put the grapes in. What do you need to put grapes into? Okay, there's a bucket here. Let's take the bucket and see if we can pick it now. Pick grapevine. I'm assuming that it sparkles when it's ripe and ready for picking. I have a bucket, but it still says I don't have anything to put the grapes in, so I don't know how to do that. But there is a capybara here. If I examine this animal, it says the most refined animal in all of Varlamore, because they hold themselves with a lot of poise. Alright, let's continue exploring over here. We're all the way on the western side of the chunk. We could climb down rocks, so that's nice. And there's an area to the south with, let's see, I'll turn my camera. There's just some animals down there. That is also, I think, a part of the chunk that was this chunk. It's like I would have to run around to get down there, but it's kind of north of the Mist Rock area. And interestingly, it looks like when I unlock the next chunk to the west, I'll be able to do an agility shortcut to climb some rocks. Oh, I can attack this bird that's here. Let's see if the bird drops anything. And nothing. Okay. Not even any feathers. Okay, I still don't know how to pick grapes or what to put them into. It looks like you can actually do some fermenting and stuff here, because inside the winery there's a big vat with a bucket or a barrel hooked up to it, and I could turn the valve, but I think I would have to fill it with grapes first. No point in doing that, as the vat is empty. In this building there is a staircase I can climb down, and there's a big storeroom with a bunch of casks, presumably filled with wine. If I examine the wine storage, it says lots of wine. And there's a downstairs place. I can take a jug, though, a wine jug from the crate. I wonder if I could put grapes in that. So let's try. Let's go back up. Before we try, though, there's also a ladder going up in this room and in this building, and then it goes up to kind of a rooftop sitting room. Oh, I can search the bookshelf. I found an interesting looking book from the bookshelf. I think we found our first piece of written lore in this whole Chunk Locked series. Alright, we got some stuff to read now. This is really aligning with the cozy old school RuneScape lore. Alright, there's a bunch of sections. This is probably going to take a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 sections. Well, let's get reading. Introduction. Oh, and the name of this book is Moonrise Wines. And if I examine the book, it says a book on the wines of the Moonrise Brewery and Winery. Introduction. The Moonrise Brewery and Winery is the oldest producer of alcohol in Varlamore, with them being best known for their unmatchable variety of wines. This guide will help you decode wine terms and tasting notes, enhancing your appreciation and enjoyment of the most famous Moonrise wines. Key terms: flavors, the distinct taste characteristics found in a wine. Body, the weight or fullness of a wine on the palate. Tannin, the textural component that gives a wine its structure and bitterness. Acidity, the level of tartness or crispness in a wine, contributing to its freshness. Sweetness, the degree of sweetness present in a wine ranging from dry to sweet. Food pairings, recommended foods that complement a wine's flavors and structure. Alright, here's the first wine. Blackbird Red, a smooth and rich Aldarin red that's said to flutter on the tongue. Flavors, red berry, dwellberry, chocolate, and cinnamon. Body, 4 of 5, tannin, 3 of 5, acidity, 2 of 5, sweetness, 3 of 5. Food pairings, grilled bird, and earthy mushroom dishes. Chilhawk Red, a smoky and spicy tlatty red that's known for its dark color. Flavors, cherry, jangerberry, marentil, and mixed spices. Body, 5 of 5, tannin, 4 of 5, acidity, 3 of 5, sweetness, 1 of 5. Food pairings, spicy curries, roasted meats, and kebabs. Eclipse Red, a full-bodied Aldarin red that's generally considered the finest wine available. Flavors, red berry, dwellberry, oak, and teak. Body, 5 of 5, tannin, 5 of 5, acidity, 3 of 5, sweetness, 2 of 5. Food pairings, roasted meats and meaty pies. Principum Red, an incredibly rare Aldarin red that was infamously used to poison the Corrend royal family. And we read a little bit about that a few episodes ago, in the episode that has Koretz memoirs, or Koretz in its title. Flavors, red berry, dragon fruit, dried cocoa, and marentil. Body, 5 of 5, tannin, 4 of 5, acidity, 3 of 5, sweetness, 2 of 5. Food pairings, grilled meats and rich savory dishes. Ixcostic White, a crisp and citrusy Aldarin white that's popular for all occasions. Flavors, apple, dwellberry, lemon, and lime. Body, 3 of 5, tannin, 1 of 5, acidity, 4 of 5, sweetness, 1 of 5. Food pairings, shellfish and light salads. Metztonali White, a light and refreshing Aldarin white that's favored on warm summer days. Flavors, papaya, lemon, lime, and marentil. Body, 3 of 5, tannin, 1 of 5, acidity, 5 of 5, sweetness, 1 of 5. Food pairings, fresh seafood, tangy curries, and light vegetable dishes. Tonameo White, a rich and bold dark frost white that's considered by some to be sacred. Flavors, apple, jangerberry, oak, and vanilla. Body, 4 of 5, tannin, 2 of 5, acidity, 3 of 5, sweetness, 2 of 5. Food pairings, roasted poultry and lobster. Fortis Ash White, a highly aromatic Fortis white that's no longer produced due to vine rot. Flavors, apple, lime, white lily, and oil. Body, 3 of 5, tannin, 1 of 5, acidity, 5 of 5, sweetness, 3 of 5. Food pairings, spicy curries and fruity desserts. I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce this next one. Chichilahui Rosé, a light and tart tlatty rosé that's known for its floral elegance. Flavors, strawberry, dragon fruit, rose petal, and rosemary. Body, 3 of 5, tannin, 2 of 5, acidity, 3 of 5, sweetness, 2 of 5. Food pairings, grilled salmon, light soups, and salads. Imperial Rosé, a complex and herby tempestuous rosé that's famously served at the College of Bards. Flavors, watermelon, pineapple, marentil, and tarramin. Body, 3 of 5, tannin, 2 of 5, acidity, 4 of 5, sweetness, 1 of 5. Food pairings, light appetizers, seafood, and summer salads. Interestingly, it mentions the College of Bards, and I don't know much about that place, but hopefully in this series we'll be able to find it. Baltic Rosé, a sweet and pale Avium rosé that's no longer produced due to vine rot. Flavors, peach, strawberry, white lily, and orange blossom. Body, 3 of 5, tannin, 1 of 5, acidity, 3 of 5, sweetness, 4 of 5. Food pairings, light desserts, fruit pies, and soft cheeses. Well, that does it for the Moonrise Wines book. I'm glad we came up here and found that. It was nice to get back to reading a book in this series. Okay, so I think we were going to try to pick the grapes again now that we have a jug. Hopefully we can put the grapes in a jug. I'm going to try to pick the grapes again. Again, it says you don't have anything to put those grapes in. How am I going to get a grape barrel? Because that's what I see other grapes are in. How am I going to get a grape barrel to put the grapes in? Maybe if I talk to the right person? Oh, there's a vineyard foreman. I wonder if I can talk to them. Let's try. Nilsal, friend, how goes it? Do you need any help in the vineyards? Well, we could always use a spare pair of hands. The foreman gives you a grape barrel. There we go. Here, fill this barrel with 4 sets of ripe grapes, and bring it back to me. Got it, 1 barrel full of grapes coming right up. Just remember, I need them to be ripe. Generally, perfectly ripe grapes are full and vibrant. They'll shine in the sunlight more than others. That's that shiny quality I saw. So let's do that. Let's go get 4 grapes. 1... Can I still pick grapes from this vine? Nope. I gotta find more shiny grapes. Okay, there's some to the north. I'm gonna run over there. I got 2 grapes now. I see one more shiny one here, so that'll be 3. And now if we run to the south... no more grapes to the south. Okay, now let's start working on another of our chunk tasks, which is obtain an iron dagger. And I'm going to attack the guards here by the bank. Hopefully they drop it. And also, I'm hoping that they'll drop leather gloves, because those are the 2 items that I need to get. The 2 best in slot items I need to get for the chunk tasks. But first, let's talk to a tourist here. I say, hey there. They say, hi there, I hope you're enjoying your time in Varlamore. And that's it. Okay, I'm going to get to work on these guards, and I'll let you know what I get. Okay, we have our iron dagger drop. That is a chunk task complete, so I'm going to mark that off. That is our magic and melee best in slot weapon for now. Let's see, how many guards have I killed to get this? Probably it's probably right around the drop rate. I probably killed 20 or 30 guards. That's great, so new best in slot weapon. Now, I do not know how I'm going to complete the other 2 chunk tasks. Rake a farming patch, I need a rake, and obtain leather gloves, and I don't know where I can get those. I can't figure out who would drop them, because I don't think guards or farmers drop them, and the only spawn I think on Aldarin is in a chunk I haven't unlocked yet, so that's a bit of a puzzle for me. Also, when I was killing guards, I got another medium clue scroll drop. I'm going to go pick that up because I dropped it, just to tell you where it was. It was, I think, let's see. Yeah, Dominic Onion in the Nightmare Zone. So that's outside of Varlamore. We're not going to do that in this series, so that is a drop. But yeah, I think we've explored pretty much the whole place. Oh, there is a new grape that I can pick from the grapevine, a new ripe grape. So let's do that. Let's pick the grape and let's take it to the vineyard foreman. And yes, it says the grape barrel is now full. You should return it to the vineyard foreman. Let's do that and see what that leads to. Okay. Running over there. I think this capybara we saw before is balancing some grapes on its head and on its neck, and then its snout and also its feet are stained purple like it's been getting into the grapes, which is pretty cute. Okay, let's talk to the vineyard foreman. I say, 1 barrel of grapes for you here, boss. The foreman says, great work. Here, keep some grapes as payment. I say, can I have some gold instead? And they say, no. I say, oh. Now, if you're up for it, I wouldn't say no to you filling the barrel up again. Okay, so I got 5 noted grapes. So that's something I can do to acquire a bunch of noted grapes. Maybe later I can make wine out of them or something by putting them in the grape vat in the winery. But for now, it's just nice to have at least one noted item that I can start to accumulate. Okay. Alright, so I've had a chance to look up some info on the remaining items we need to get, and one of them is the leather gloves, and apparently we need a rope for that, so I need to remember where I got the rope. Because the nest at the top of the windmill, apparently you can trade items with the nest. And so, if I go up there and I leave a rope, and then I think I have to hop worlds, apparently I can get leather gloves through that mechanism. But now I have to remember where the heck the rope is. I think I found in Mist Rock, because I need that rope again so that I can trade the rope for the leather gloves. So I'm gonna try to find the rope, and I'll let you know when I'm ready to run up to the windmill. Okay, the rope is in the building, a building that's attached to the bank, just to the south of the bank. So I got the rope. Now we have to run up to the windmill and climb up to the top floor. And then I think I have to use the rope on the nest, and then I think hop worlds, and then I'll find the leather gloves there. Let me just double check. Logging out and switching worlds will result in it being swapped for a different item if it's one of 10 items with a special interaction. I'm really glad I looked it up, because I would never have thought of that. And that reminds me kind of how nests work in Dark Souls, because in those games there's like these bird nests, and if you leave items, then they also swap out for other items. So I'm going to use the rope on the nest. You place your item in the nest. I think I can just log out and log back in. Okay, I'm back, and now I'm going to search the nest, and there we go. It says you go to retrieve your item from the nest, but find that it's been replaced with something else. I wonder if I could use that as temporary item storage too. Anyway, I'm wearing the leather gloves now, and that is another chunk task complete, so I'm going to mark that off. That is our magic ranged melee best in slot hands. Obtain leather gloves. Now there's only one chunk task left. Farming, rake of farming patch. And I also looked this up and figured out where I'm supposed to get gloves. For a long time I was thinking I have to fish for them, but it wasn't the right fishing spots in Mist Rock. And it's also interesting because in Mist Rock the wiki says that there's a fishing spot to the east, but it doesn't show up on the map, on the in-game map at all. And so I went over there, and indeed there is a fishing spot to the east. But I didn't have to do that to get the leather gloves. Anyway, for the rake, I remembered that, on the wiki, it reminded me that if you trade with farmers, the farmers that look after your crops, they have like tool stores, and so I can talk to Airkos, and I can say, I'm going to ask about farming advice. It's the same one that we've read about from other people, so I'm going to say, can you sell me something? What are you looking for? And a rake is 6 coins, so we'll buy 1 rake. Now we have 494 coins, and finally I should be able to rake this hops patch. And there we go. You rake the hops patch, and that is the last chunk task. So before we roll another chunk, I'm going to drop these weeds because I don't think I have a use for them. I can get them back anytime. I am going to store this rake with the tool leprechaun, and I'm just going to have to remember somehow that I have 1 rake there. I can also store my spade there. So I have a rake and a spade in the farming patch. I'm going to have to leave myself a note so that I remember what I have stored in like extra storage. Okay, that is all the chunk tasks done, but before we roll we have to check out 2 more buildings here climb up the staircase of the bar. There's just 2 citizens up here, and I can see on the table outside there's like a drink. I can't examine it from here, but if I run back down the stairs, then I go into the kind of courtyard, and it is a Sunbeam Ale, and if I take that off the table, it would increase my hit points, agility, and strength, but decrease my attack by 5. The agility and strength boost is just 1, and hit points I'm not sure how many. And then there's also an empty beer glass on another table here, but I'm just going to drop the Sunbeam Ale for now and know that anytime I need one I can get one here. But let's go inside the bar and talk to the bartender. And they say, "Welcome to Sunlight Sanctum. What will it be?" Okay, so this is a bar called Sunlight Sanctum. And I'm going to say, "Let's see what you have." Okay, they sell a lot of things that we've seen in other bars, but they also have a jug of wine and a cup of tea. So that's good to know. And maybe a few more. Oh yeah, they have more wines that you can't get other places. Okay. How much is this white wine? 500 coins. That's actually more than I have. I wonder if those have special properties. I'm going to talk to the bartender one more time. I'm going to say, "Nice place you have here." And they say, "Thank you. I like to think we have one of the nicest pubs in all of Varlamore. Not that I can take much credit myself." I say, "How come?" "Well, it's the Moonrise Brewery and Winery who own this place. It's only as nice as it is because of their continued investments." "So I'm guessing they care a lot about this place?" "Well, I suppose it just makes sense for them. Keeping this pub in good condition keeps the locals happy, which is probably wise for a company that employs half of them. We also make plenty of money from all the tourists. Even before Varlamore opened up, Aldarin was a top holiday destination. That's easy money for the owners to help fund all their other ventures." And I say, "I suppose so." They say, "And on that note, I'm guessing you came in for a drink. What will it be?" And I'm going to say, "Nothing, thanks." And they say, "Fair enough." And that is that building done. I think we just have one left, and that's Moonrise Alchemical Headquarters. Let's start by climbing up the stairs. And, oh wow, there's a big cauldron here. It's like beige. And it just says, "I wonder what they're making," if I examine it. But there is lab notes here, on a pedestal. And if I examine it, it says, "Notes from someone's lab work." And so I'm going to peek at the lab notes. Let's see what they say. The top of the page reads, "To MM, my star, my perfect silence." They say there are some technical diagrams scrawled all over the pages. My herblore knowledge isn't good enough to understand what they mean. And according to the wiki, the lab notes requires an unboosted herblore level of 99 herblore to get additional dialogue, so we are not going to have that anytime soon. But the trivia section on the page for this on the wiki also says that the dialogue "To MM, my star, my perfect silence" is a reference to Breaking Bad in Season 4, Episode 4, where Gale's journal contains a dedication to presumably Walter White, to WW, my star, my perfect silence. Interesting. I remember that scene. Okay, and then I also wanted to read about Moonrise Brewery and Winery. The wiki says, "It's a brewery and winery located in the center of Aldarin. It is the oldest and largest producer of alcohol in Varlamore, and is famously known for their unmatchable variety of wines. Aside from a vineyard that rivals the Hosidius Winery, they also own the Sunlight Sanctum pub and also sell their wine locally in Moonrise Wines." I wonder where that is. Moonrise Wines. Maybe that's the place I've already been. I'm going to see where the location is. Oh yeah, that's where I was, I explored that building earlier. It's right between two of the vineyard patches. Okay, the wiki also says, "The winery is over 400 years old, being founded by Brachus Ramio, and solely produced wine until Brachus's grandson Ludovic expanded the business into brewing. After Ludovic's death, control of the business transferred to a largely anonymous collective of stakeholders around Varlamore. Information about the various wines sold at the winery can be found in a book by searching the eastern bookshelf at the upper level of the facility." Okay, so I think we did that already. And let's keep exploring the Moonrise Alchemical Headquarters. There's another staircase I can climb up. And, oh, that's a really, really nice rooftop garden up here, and I can talk to someone named Metzlan, who says, "Oh, Nilsal, unusual to see someone up here. What can I do for you?" I'm going to say, "What do you do around here?" I used to work downstairs, but I started using the lab after hours for my own projects, and the supervisor found out. Now I've been assigned to rooftop duty to look after the plants. Sorry to hear that. At least the view is good. I'm going to say, "Do you have any tips for potion production?" Yes, make good use of the digweed once they are ready to pick. Choose which potion you use it on wisely. Oh, and the processing tables can be sped up a bit if you use them correctly. You might need to do some experimenting to figure that out. Interesting, I say. And I say, thanks, I'd better be going now. Alright, let's go back downstairs and let's check out this potion area. I think it's in the basement. But first, let's talk to people on the ground floor. There is a wine drinking bowl here, and if I examine it, it says, lots of wine. It's just sitting on the ground. Well, there's a cauldron here. Can I drink from it? That's an option. I say, as nice as that looks, I think I'll give it a miss for now. Alright, let's talk to the two NPCs here. The first one is Alaxi. Nilsal, Iknami, do you need help with anything? What do you do around here? I spend a lot of my time researching new product formulas for the lab. Just over here we have a batch of something new that I've dubbed earworm. Earworm? Indeed, its effects produce musical auditory hallucinations. Soon people will be able to listen to music while on the go. It'll sell like hotcakes. I feel like there has to be a better solution to that, but good luck anyway. And I'm going to say, what are the goals of the Alchemical Society? Our main focus is the advancement of herb lore through scientific study. As for an end goal, that information is only for senior members. Perhaps in time you will learn of it. And I'm going to say, thanks, I better be going now. Alright, and then the other NPC is Clanilla. If I talk to them, they say, welcome to the Alchemical Society. What can I help you with? What is this place? This is the main facility of the Alchemical Society. We're an organization who fuse the forgotten teachings of the old ones with traditional Gillenorian herblore practices. The lab under our feet allows us to fund our research by producing useful products for the kingdom. So you do things differently to the druids of the mainland? In a way, but we very much respect herblore as a profession, and we recognize that whatever your druids do definitely works. Our goal is to advance the study of herblore, not replace it. Anyway, I'm a little busy at the moment, but I'm sure some of the other lab assistants would love to tell you more. I really like how Jagex is mindful that like introducing new things isn't too disruptive to like the existing kind of like ecology and economy of like tasks and items and materials and activities in the game. And I think it's kind of nice that they include that in the dialogue. They're like, wait, we're not trying to replace existing herblore, we're trying to extend it. And it's like a nice way that like the writing ties in the new content with the old content in a way that mirrors, I think, what Jagex is trying to do, which is like let these types of content coexist. I'm going to say, what do you do around here? When I'm not working in the lab, I'm normally somewhere around here researching or administrating our orders. There's an awful lot of paperwork to get through. And can I buy some potions? We're not really a shop, so our products are not available to buy directly. Everything we make gets shipped wholesale around the kingdom. You look like the adventuring type anyway. I can't imagine our products would be of much use to you. I wonder what that means. It's like, our products are not for adventuring types? Who are they for? Okay, and then I'm going to say, can I buy some potions? Oh, no, I already did that. Okay. And I'm going to say, thanks, I better be going now. And there is a spawn of an empty vial on this table here, so that's good to know about. And I'm going to climb down the staircase. And we go into the basement. This is where the, I think, Trouble Brewing minigame is. There's a chest here, and if I click open, it says the chest appears tightly locked, but it has a ring-shaped indent on the front of it. Alright, let's talk to Juatil. Hello there, what do you need? I am going to say, what do you do around here? I mostly look after the lab equipment and make sure things run as they should. These days I'm not much into the production side of things, all that moving up and down, pulling levers, carrying vials. These old bones ain't what they used to be. I'm going to say, you alchemists sure wear a lot of safety gear. Juatil says, "Of course, some of the mixtures down here can get pretty nasty in their raw form. Safety first. Although between you and me, I'm not sure if anything this lab produces can be considered truly safe for human consumption." I say, yikes, I guess I'll not be trying anything then. And I'm going to say, thanks, I better be going now. Okay, then over here is Supervisor Lalo. He says, "What is it?" I'm going to say, "Can you explain how to make potions?" "Very well, listen closely." Oh, it's going into a whole cutscene. It's explaining the workings of the minigame down here. Break down herbs or refine potions on the refiner. Insert it into the hopper, and the paste will become available to use in the mixer. Pull the mixer levers to create the right combination of reagents. How do I know what the combinations are? Have a look on the bookshelf for a book of lab notes. That'll give you the formula. To know what needs making, you'll need to check the order list. There's multiple to choose from. It's up to you. Just be aware that demand shifts fast here. New orders will come through when you fill ones. Now, once you have set your desired combination of reagents, collect the mixture into the mixing vessel. And then it needs to be processed on one of the 3 tables. Alembic will crystallize the mixture, agitator will homogenize it, and retort will concentrate it. Then place your finished mixtures on the conveyor belt and move on to the next order. What if I get one wrong or I'm unable to fulfill one? We always have need for spares, so fulfilling an incorrect order will still grant you a small reward and will refresh the orders. We also have digweed growing in the lab. These rare herbs will occasionally come into maturity for a short period of time. Harvest them while you can. Mixing some into your product will increase its potency and grant you bonus rewards. Bonus rewards? That's right. As you produce potions, you'll find yourself collecting 3 types of resin. The types obtained depend on what the reagents are used, with the quantities being determined by the complexity of the potion. Okay, digweed requires additional resin, so I say, got it. Refine herbs, deposit into the hopper, mix some products, process them, and then throw them on the conveyor. Seems easy enough. Okay. And I'm going to talk to the supervisor again, and they say, what is it? I'm going to say, can I have some rewards? As you wish. Okay, so this is where I could buy all sorts of rewards from here. And I don't think anything is immediately relevant, but that's good to know. And then I'm going to talk to them one more time. And I'm going to say, can you tell me more about the Alchemical Society? Can't imagine there's much to tell beyond what you already know. We exist to bring about advancements in herb lore, but in truth, a lot of what we produce doesn't directly contribute to that. Instead, many of the potions we make here are simply to sell. Doing so is what provides the funding we need to further our true goals. Makes sense. So how did the society first get established? For a long time, it was just a couple of us operating out of a makeshift lab we'd built in my garden. Our big break came when the Moonrise Brewery and Winery learned about us. They provided us with some initial funding to properly get things going, but more importantly, they provided this lab space. This was actually one of their old wine cellars before we moved in. Why were they so interested in your work? They never properly said why, just that they were very keen to see us grow. Maybe they're hoping our work can help them create new beers and wines. I see, I suppose that makes sense. That's just what I was thinking. Okay, I'm going to say I'll be going now. And I'm going to run north into this room. There's the 4 different tables, there's a mixing vessel, and, oh, there's a couple other people I can talk to, I think. Oh, that's a player. Let's talk to Kali. I say, hello there. I'm on duty, so you'll need to make this quick. What do you do around here? I typically hang onto the lab and keep an eye on the newbies. Someone needs to make sure that no one breaks anything or loses an eye. Last week we had someone trying to churn butter in the agitator. They weren't around for long. I really wish they'd start properly vetting new society members. Now I'm going to say, what's your favorite potion? For me, it's the anti-leech potion. I despise leeches. Oh, that's surprising. I don't think I've seen many around here. You've obviously never been swimming anywhere in the Tlati rainforest. Okay, and I'm going to say, thanks, I better be going now. Alright, and the bookshelves. I don't actually even see the bookshelves. I don't know where I get the lab notes from. Didn't Supervisor Lalo say I could find lab notes? Maybe it's upstairs. Because I thought if there's something to read there, that might be good. There's a bank chest, but I won't be able to use it. Oh, okay. There's a lab books. There's a bookshelf with lab books. I'm going to search that, and you take a set of lab notes from the bookshelf. Let's see if there's anything interesting in here. Alright, Mammoth Might Mix. Okay, so there's just a bunch of mixes, and each one has 3 icons. Some of them are the same, some of them are different, but the types of icons are like a blue star, a green triangle, diamond shape, and then like a red fire. And then at the bottom it says concentrated, crystallized, and homogeneous, with 3 different icons that don't look like they're up above. So, so this is probably just a legend for how it would probably combine like a set of 3 icons for one of them with like, for that specific order, how I would need to prepare it, either concentrating, crystallizing, or homogenizing. Okay, so I have the lab notes, but I'm going to drop those, and I'm also going to drop the Moonrise Wines book we read earlier. I drop raw chicken, because I can get that anytime. I can get any of these things anytime. But I'm going to hold on to the seeds that I have, body talismans. I guess I can also make the pita bread anytime, so I'll drop that. I'm going to hold on to the runes that I got, and the ammunition that I got, and the grapes that I got. Okay, and the pickaxe, of course. The grape barrel, I'm going to check that. It's empty, so I think I could get that anytime. I'll destroy it. It says, yes, you can get another from the vineyard foreman. Okay, a little bit of inventory management is done. That's good. And my inventory's looking cleaner. I have a jug of wine that I think I'm not going to keep, so I'll drop that because I can pick that up anytime. Alright. Okay, so let's go back upstairs. There is one animal that we didn't examine yet that is running around, I think, a little bit to the southeast. So let's go find that animal, examine it, and then I think we will wrap this up. Okay. Oops, I think it's over here. I gotta run through the vineyard. Interestingly, because there's a wheat field, if there was a crop circle at a certain point caused by an imp spawning in a wheat field, I think I'd be able to unlock... Oh, Flippa is trying to invite me to a pinball game, but I don't feel like doing that right now. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe I need to take every random event I get, but not right now. Okay, so I was just saying, though, that when an imp spawns in a wheat field, it creates a crop circle, and you can use that to get directly to Puro, so maybe that's a way I could unlock the Puro chunk and then get access to more items in there. So that would be kind of cool, if that ever happens. But there's a porcupine, level 4. I'm going to examine it. This is the animal. It says a spiky fellow, and I can attack. Let's see if the porcupine drops anything. I got my new iron dagger here. That's nice. Just bones. I'll take them and I will bury them. Alright, well I think that's it for exploring this chunk and its lore. We did all the chunk tasks, so now it's time to go over and roll a new chunk. We can get into 3 new chunks from here. One to the east, which has an agility shortcut down there, and a hunter area. That's kind of cool. But then it has an area that's inaccessible, kind of past, like a little kind of island connected by a bridge that apparently is inaccessible. And then we have 2 chunks to the north. I want to finish off, I want to have like the last chunk that I unlock be the docks, and so I'm hoping that I rolled, yeah, I'm going to roll 2 or 3. Oh, the map gives me numbers for the different chunks that I have that are unlockable or rollable. And so 1 is the docks, 2 is the chunk to the east, and 3 is the chunk to the north. So I'm going to choose one that's not chunk 1. So right now I'm going to click roll 2. We'll see which 2 it gives us as options. And we got the one to the east, and we got the docks. So I'm going to say take me there on the map, and we are going to unlock the chunk to the east. And that's going to do it, I think. Next time we'll go explore that chunk, do anything that we can. Well, real quick, let's see. No new chunk tasks. There's a couple of rocks, 3 trees over there, some birds, some other animals. Oh, we could pick up seaweed there. I think that's maybe a new thing. Or maybe there was already seaweed in Mist Rock. And yeah, so it'll be pretty. It'll probably be pretty quick, and we might explore 2 chunks next time if it's really quick. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Cozy Old School RuneScape Lore. We explored Aldarin, the Moonrise Alchemical Headquarters chunk. We talked to people, we read a couple books, we explored all the buildings, and we completed 5 chunk tasks. Again, those were... Ooh, it doesn't put them in order, but we raked a farming patch, we pickpocketed a guard, we baked pita bread, we got leather gloves, and we got an iron dagger. Those must be the 5. Well, that's pretty great. Alright, so that's going to do it. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the chunk-based Varlamore region-locked Ironlike series. And I will see you next time, either for an episode not in this series, or for another episode in this series where we go to new chunks. I hope you have such a good evening and that you sleep so well, and I'm going to say good night and goodbye for now.